Hey, what is going on, SMT Nation? It is your boy, the SMT. I want to take a deep dive into an ongoing issue. This has been going on for several years, something that I feel should have been addressed and taken care of, a long time ago. It continues to plague the wireless marketplace because the nation's largest carrier, which has the most customers, also has the least amount of spectrum. Partially to blame is Verizon for this, but also partially to blame for this is our FCC and then also Dish Network. So I want to get into those details, so hang tight and let's go through all of those items. To get things started, I want to give you a perspective as to the national scale in which Verizon holds AWS and other mid-band spectrum holdings across the nation. So for the most part, most carriers have a nice chunk of AWS mid-band spectrum. This is spectrum that offers very good capacity for networks. A company like Verizon, which serves a lot of customers, could really use more of this. T-Mobile just acquired a ton of mid-band through the Sprint acquisition. We know that AT&T in certain places holds incredible mid-band holdings with like band 30 and band 66, band 4, band 2. These are really important bands specifically for supporting LT capacity, and they will be also utilized in DSS with 5G. And these things, they're really important to give us what we need, which is capacity. So watching high-resolution video, being able to send and receive files very quickly, midband's been a big part of the high-capacity needs of consumer wireless. That being said, the ongoing issue, and this is a story that is picking up steam, it started all yesterday with some tweets and some news from a couple of, wireless telecom reporters. I want to give a special shout-out to Walt Pycheck on this. And this is what I want to cover here. So Verizon really does need spectrum. All right. At this point, obviously, we expect them to go big on C-band, but here's what could have been. So if you look at this map, you'll see this is where Verizon stands after 2017 when they, basically their market matured for mid-band in the AWS segment of the spectrum frequencies. So they could use more. All right, based on this map, you'll see where they have 40 plus megahertz of AWS, following all of the most recent auctions for that spectrum. There are places where Verizon has such a high concentration of users, their market share is very high, they actually need more. All right, so I just wanted to give you an idea of what it looks like on their map. You could see where they have not as much, so less than 40 megahertz. So I'm going to go ahead and transition to this next image to give you guys a more in-depth look at Verizon's holdings overall as a company, which takes us to this map with this key. So Verizon's nationwide spectrum inventory listed on the left, what it does not include is the millimeter wave holdings because, that's not really nationally deployed and it won't be for a long time. In fact, who knows, it may never be. I don't know. So if I'm looking at this total spectrum holdings, sub 6 gigahertz, this is low band and mid band, you're looking at the AWS piece, 48 megahertz. That's a really important part of what Verizon does. If you check the connection logs on your phone, if you're a Verizon customer, many times you're going to be seeing a lot of the downlink capacity, a lot of the true power of the network resides in the AWS, band 66 or band 4 configuration. So if you look at where they have their distribution of these particular licenses, there are certain places where they really do need more based on their market share. So I wanted to share this with you so you could kind of see where they stand and you could see where they are post-auction, total spectrum depth. It kind of covers how much spectrum they have and where they could use it. Now I want you to take a look at this map, which is going to be where Dish currently has the rights to the licenses that they have been squatting on and not utilizing because they haven't built out a network yet. So take a look at this map. This is what I was talking about. Dish has, through this, I think it was a deal back in 2015, a spectrum auction, they were able to get some kind of discount. I think it was like a 25% discount on, the spectrum that they won. They did it through a couple of companies. The FCC hasn't acted on it for, several years. And Dish has been squatting on it. Anyways, if you look at those specific areas that are marked yellow, that is AWS 3 paired spectrum in the concentration of 10 megahertz. if you look at the green, that's 20 megahertz, and there are some markets that are blue, which is 30 megahertz. Those are spectrum licenses that are literally doing nothing. And they've been doing nothing for the last 5 years, being under the ownership of Dish. So here's where I'm going with this. Verizon has the tower density, the tower grid, and the urgency to need to deploy spectrum like this. Verizon shares a very strong coverage-based network, and they can really improve their capacity in all of these areas that are colored in this map. Most markets, Verizon has pretty good AWS holdings, and it's a big part of what they do in capacity. But this would be a huge boom in these places that would help customers, give them the capacity, give them the boost in that mid-band area. And obviously, in these places, Verizon likely holds a lot of spectrum already, so it adds to that concentration. We're talking about instant DSS 5G application here. That would be, that would work because the DSS concentration and efficiency issues can be addressed by kicking up the concentration. Many states have, and if you just take a look around there, many states have 10 megahertz, 20 megahertz, and even 30 megahertz of holdings here for Dish in this AWS3 holdings. It should not be hoarded. It's been squatted on by Dish. And now we've got a complication of Ajit Pai again doing his rendition of an FCC special where they're doing nothing about it. And now we're approaching the point where, we've got C-band coming up. We've got more CBRS coming up. This should have been deployed years ago. So Dish spectrum squatting, FCC being ineffective. Ajit Pai, in my opinion, has been an absolutely terrible chairman at the FCC. This highlights it. Whether it doesn't matter how you feel about Verizon. Put all your feelings aside. If you hate Verizon, fine. It doesn't matter. This could have helped wireless networking across the country. And just look at some of those spectrum holdings. Stuck in limbo doing nothing because Dish refused and just didn't want to build out a network. Who knows if they ever will, according to some people. I think they will, but I'm just saying they've owned some really critical mid-band spectrum and low-band spectrum for the better part of the last couple of decades. And they have done nothing with it. If Verizon had these spectrum holdings, it would have been deployed years ago. And it would have been deployed completely and thoroughly. And they have the tower grid to do it, and they have the network coverage to do it. It would have been great. It would have greatly enhanced their network. And those 120 million customers on the Verizon network would be capitalizing on these spectrum assets. I'm very upset in that I haven't seen this come to customers' usage. It's almost in a wireless networking kind of way. It's kind of depressing to think about this spectrum being hoarded. Anyways, I'd love to hear your take on it. Are you as frustrated as me? Maybe you're a Verizon customer in these marketed areas and you could have really used that capacity. Maybe you're just a network tech enthusiast like me and you want to see the best network performance from all the carriers. Increase the performance for customer usage, obviously improve their experiences, and make the network marketplace more competitive in performance. That's what I would have liked to have seen. And who knows, maybe this auction, because of the situation of Dish squatting it, maybe it gets re-auctioned. Maybe it does get to Verizon. They would be bringing the money bags to that auction. They would definitely be taking this home. I would actually love to see it, in my personal opinion. I have my doubts about Dish. They have, if you look at the precedents, if you look at their history, what type of confidence should we have in them based on this type of situation? Anyways, drop me a line in the comment section. I'd love to hear what you have to say. The voice of the people, the SMT Nation. Let your voice be heard. Thank you for taking this opportunity to watch the SMT YouTube channel. If you appreciated this video, give it a like and a share to all your favorite social media platforms. Thank you in advance for that. Also, check out some of the links in the description box. We have the SMT Patreon page. We also have the Twitter handle @SneedTech. And do check out the audio-only podcast available on all the major podcast platforms. And if you are new and have not subscribed, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and activate the bell notification icon so you never miss an upload from the SMT. We'll catch you on the next video. Peace.